Have you ever wondered why you can't convert and generate leads using cold email? Or why it takes so much manual work and time to actually get someone interested in your product or service? Trust me, I felt frustrated and I asked myself that exact question for well over 2 years while working at HubSpot as a BDR and then later as an account executive. Even though I was one of the company's top performers, I knew fundamentally that the outbound sales motion was broken and I was left doing useless manual work every single day and not having enough meetings on my calendar. If you stick until the end of the video, I'll show you the exact blueprint I used to generate more leads for myself at warmleads.io and for my clients in less time and less effort. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So guys, to talk about how we can do this properly in 2025, cold email outbound, we first have to see how it's traditionally done in most companies, especially at my company at HubSpot. So in the beginning, I was a BDR, which is a business development representative, and my task is to generate meetings for my account executives, right? And what that entailed was I had to go find the ICP, right, my ideal customer profile. And for example, what I used was ZoomInfo, right? ZoomInfo was being used to just find the persona I was looking for, like what type of industry they're in, what the company headcount was, right? That sort of information ZoomInfo pulled, and then say ZoomInfo didn't pull that information, I then had to go into Apollo, try to get that exact information. Once I had sort of like a list, maybe it was 4 or 5, maybe it was 20 leads, right? Then I had to verify it, right, using LinkedIn Sales Navigator to actually see if they're actually working still at that company. Because more often than not, what happened was you find a lead, you're really happy you found them, and then you go look at LinkedIn and you saw that they actually left that company 3 years ago, right? And it just hadn't updated in Apollo or ZoomInfo, right? Because it was outdated, right? Moreover, you have tools like Sixth Sense and Demandbase, which are like intent platforms. What they do is essentially they tell you what outside company is researching your company, right? They don't tell you who exactly, just they just tell you like what outside company is researching. So you then have to go and like again find those leads manually, right? Say you do find all those leads, they do meet your ICP. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put them in HubSpot, right? You're gonna put them in your Salesforce, your CRM, right? And you're most likely gonna either have to update a new contact, right? Meaning, that lead already exists, and you have to update the email address, or you have to verify it, right? Using Lead IQ or like Seamless AI, which are just tools you can verify email addresses with, and then sort of you're kind of comparing what you found on ZoomInfo, comparing it to what already exists in your CRM in terms of like contact information, and then you're kind of verifying that with Lead IQ. So you kind of like three different places to look, right? It's very manual, and you don't know which contact information is actually accurate up until you actually send an email, right? But what you do at that point is you research the website, you try to find key things, so personalized, right? And you go one by one, right, from one lead at one company to another, right? You're researching website, which again takes 30 minutes to an hour sometimes to actually research and then craft that email. And then once what you do is you actually send that you send an email, an automation email to that lead, right? And what's going to happen more often than not, it definitely happened during my time, was you find out that that email address bounced, right? It wasn't actually an email address, it was a fake one, right? Then we have to go back and do rinse and repeat that entire process again and go verify that lead again, right? Maybe use Apollo this time, right? Maybe use a different like scraping tool, right? So again, you're just constantly feeding this loop, and you're constantly feeding bad data into your CRM, right? Because once that email you sent that actually went to spam, if you don't remove it, that stays in your CRM platform, right? So then you're just creating more bad data, and it's definitely not efficient, and it's definitely not scalable, right? And more often than not, if you become an account executive, what account executives do, especially if you're on the smaller business side, is you're actually generating more, like generating the leads for yourself as well, right? So maybe you're setting appointments for yourself. You're going through the entire process. You maybe email that person and you book a conversation with them, and you jump on the meeting with them, and then you realize that they're actually not the CMO, and they actually have a different job title than what Apollo showed you, right? And you didn't know that up until you chatted with that person. So imagine that entire time you waste your time talking that, researching that company, pulling that lead list into your CRM, setting that automation, personalizing that email, and you find out that they're actually not the person you want to be speaking with. Then you got to go back and do that entire process all over again, right? So you guys can see how this is very time consuming, right? It leads to bad data in your CRM platform, which is generally just bad across the board for your entire business, not just on the sales side, right? And it's not scalable, right? You're doing this one by one, and takes a lot of time, right? And I'm definitely, fell victim to this because it definitely did take a toll on my, my day to day activities, right? So, with all that said, this is not the way to do it, right? The proper way to do it in 2025 is using a tool called Clay, right? I'm sure you guys have heard about Clay so far. Essentially, if you don't know what it is, it's a tool that consolidates all your data and outbound efforts into one platform. And that's where you can actually do your research. You can do all your automations, right? So, just kind of jumping into it, what Clay actually does, it actually creates a table, right? A table where you can input all your information about your clients and then do the enrichments from there, right? And what that basically starts off with, like any sales activity, is finding a lead list, right? So you can actually scrape a bunch of different tools and create a lead list in Clay, right? So that would be Link to Sales Navigator, right, is one of them, right? Apollo, Google Maps, right? Ocean.io. Ocean.io, if you guys don't know what it is essentially finding lookalikes for your ideal customer profile. With Google Maps, you can actually scrape local businesses, which a lot of times are not on LinkedIn or Apollo, right? So right now you're creating a big funnel of leads that you can create lists of, right? Not just from one or two data sources. And then what the cool thing is, you can actually verify the leads from one data source to next data source, right? That's the beauty of it, right? So with this, you're scraping it, you're finding the leads. Once you have all the leads created, you can actually create a waterfall enrichment, right? Which is one of my favorite features in Clay. Which essentially what it is you can actually verify and find email addresses and phone numbers using a variety of tools all at the same time. So you actually know whether or not it's actually accurate, right? So one of the best ones is like Prospeo or like Lead Magic. Again, Lead IQ is a good one too. So you can verify that and actually see if that email will bounce, because it'll verify the email as well. Not only will it give the actual email, but it'll verify it. So it's doing the waterfall enrichment, and then from there, you can actually do another waterfall enrichment, for example, to find tech stack, right? So let's just say, you guys are working at a CRM company, like I was at HubSpot. You maybe want to go after another one, right? Maybe Pipedrive, maybe Salesforce, right? You can actually pull that information again into the table using bill with and predict leads, and find out what competitive tech stacks they're using, right? One of the many ways. And another thing is like company headcount, right? So you can actually find, the headcount of the company you're researching, find relevant information. For example, when was the last time they received funding from a variety of data sources out there, as well as pulling in information like how many people they have in each department, right? All that information again trickles down from one lead to the next, and you sort of have like a list being built from one end to the other end, right? So, and it doesn't stop there. One of the cool things I like about Clay, and I think this is how it's going to be super powerful as the year progresses, is writing your email copy in Clay, right? So you can actually use a native ChatGPT extension, connect all your data that you just found, connect to ChatGPT, write your email copy right out of Clay, right? And then now you're writing based on all the different information you got, right? You can personalize it using ChatGPT, right? Another one is that I like is personally Clay Agent, where you can actually scrape another website and actually find like keywords where you can personalize. Super really good tool for like the email copy as well. And as far as sort of the email automation aspects go, you can actually use Smartlead, Instantly, HeyReach. If you guys know what HeyReach is, actually it's a LinkedIn automation tool. Smartlead and Instantly is email automation. So you connected and you're sending the automated emails that are all verified from Clay, right? So this is really good because not only did you have all the information to begin with, you verified it and you're actually sending it to the proper individuals. And another thing that I want to mention as well is like intent triggers. I kind of talked about how like the legacy tools like 6sense or Demandbase, sort of have these like, intent data that you can pull in, but it's not very accurate because it doesn't actually tell you who that person is in the company that's researching your company. For example, with our B2B, you can actually see anonymous website visitors that are coming to your website and see exactly who they are based on the contact level, right? Super great tool in terms of like your inbound that you want to maybe automate using the sales automation as well, and then connect that to Clay. And then one of the newer tools that just came out is Triggerify. With Triggerify, you can actually look at different people on LinkedIn and see who's actually like engaging with their content, right? Who's liking, who's sharing their posts, and you can actually use that as like a sort of like a lead, like a sort of place where you can like scrape your leads and find information on them and then put them into Clay as well, right? And the beauty of all this, right? Everything I just talked about is it connects natively to Salesforce and HubSpot, right? So now you have clean data to work with, right? It is scalable because you're sending automations all at once to the different personas you have, and it's quite honestly faster, right? Because you have all the data into one tool, right? You're enriching it all in one tool, and it's 10 times more verifiable than the other systems that you had to go through and sort of manually do the process over and over again, right? So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. You guys can kind of see the vision of kind of what I'm talking about. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to work one on one on this. Happy to kind of talk about how we work with similar businesses. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Happy to kind of chat through it. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.